California Governor Gavin Newsom is now calling his city's homeless encampments unacceptable, which is odd since he's the guy who, made them acceptable, turning sidewalks into red carpet events for drug addicts, thieves, and unemployed CNN anchors. On Monday, he urged cities to ban the camps from sidewalks, parks, and other public areas. So after years of denying the problem, he's now pretending to fix it, which is like putting on a condom as you're leaving a whorehouse.
Greg Gutfeld just tore through Gavin Newsom's polished image like wildfire, leaving behind nothing but ego, smoke, and that frozen smile that couldn't survive the heat. His monologue hit like a wrecking ball, shaking even the most loyal liberal corners as he mocked Newsom's empty promises and called out the hypocrisy hiding beneath that glossy exterior. This wasn't some playful roast or late-night jab. It was a full-scale takedown, leaving Newsom exposed and stunned. He never saw it coming. Welcome to Gutfeld, completely unleashed, where the truth doesn't whisper, it explodes.
So Newsom is fed up with tent cities, the crime, the urban decay? No, he's not mad about that stuff. He's mad you noticed. It's like a criminal telling a jury he's sorry he robbed 25 banks when he's just sorry he got caught on the 26th. Because this isn't some spontaneous crisis. It's a man-made disaster like Chernobyl or Fox and Friends. And
it started like any other night on Gutfeld's stage, bright lights blazing, coffee mug in hand, and that trademark smirk curling at the edge of his mouth like a warning sign. But this wasn't his usual mix of humor and banter. Tonight, he came ready for battle, and his target was none other than California's picture-perfect prince, Gavin Newsom, the man with movie star hair and a politician's pose, who walks into press conferences like every podium is his personal photo shoot. But Gutfeld wasn't buying the act, and under his relentless spotlight, that polished facade was about to melt away.
Took common sense as his high ground.
Right.
There's no place outside of it.
That's right.
And so they're stuck in this horrible, horrible place, much like you, Jamie, in your life. As California falls apart, it must remind you somewhat of your own personal life.
Yeah. Sometimes I look at footage of California and I go, oh, look how much better it is than my life.
If this fiery takedown already has your attention, you'll want to stick around, because right in Gutfeld's crosshairs stood the poster boy of progressive perfection, or at least that's how Newsom loves to see himself. Beneath all that charm, though, lies a pile of failures stacked higher than unpaid bills, and Gutfeld wasn't shy about tearing into every one of them. His words cut like a blade, shredding Newsom's glamorous reputation until it looked like a bad Hollywood script, overhyped, overacted, and desperate for a rewrite. For years, Newsom's basked in that golden glow of left-wing praise, but tonight, Gutfeld ripped off the mask and showed what was really underneath.
Why do I keep bringing up Gavin? Well, other than my respect for his work in American Psycho, he's starting to distance himself from his party's worst ideas. Newsom, a guy who hates fossil fuels but could still bring down the price of gas by wringing out his hair, once proclaimed that his state would be a sanctuary to all who seek it. Then people actually came.
He's got that toothpaste commercial smile, tossing out catchy buzzwords like he's headlining a motivational seminar, strutting around as if California were his personal masterpiece. But the truth behind those photo ops and fancy dinners? It's chaos wrapped in sparkle. And Greg Gutfeld wasn't about to let him hide behind that illusion. The second Gutfeld hit the stage, you could feel the shift. No soft jokes, no easing in, just raw truth cutting through the glamour. He made it clear that the entire performance was just that, a mask. And under the force of his words, that mask cracked wide open.
You conflate order with authoritarianism, you get chaos and destruction. So if restoring order is evil, then the Dems are now the party of disorder. Turns out the only system they had was wokeism, and it rotted any basic principles the party had to begin with. Which is why, like Gavin himself, they're left looking at 2028's hopes going up in flames. And this time, no one is going to help them put it out.
Gutfeld ripped off the shiny surface and exposed the decay beneath, painting a brutal picture of California, the state Newsom parades as proof of progress, now collapsing under its own weight. Streets lined with tents, taxes so high that even Elon Musk flew straight to Texas, and crime so rampant it didn't even need exaggeration. Smash and grabs, turning stores into glass graveyards, carjackings happening as often as Uber rides, and yet Newsom still clings to his fairy tale version of success, like a king standing over ashes, pretending his kingdom hasn't already burned to the ground.
Problem is his track record, his performance as mayor, as lieutenant governor, and governor. And your analogies are great. I think mine are better. And just hold on. And here's why. He shows up at the fires and says, who the hell caused this? I'm going to crack down on the people responsible. He sees the homeless encampments blocking the sidewalks and said, you guys clean that up. He started it. He spent $3 billion to fix it. And his opening words in 2020 when he got the job is a disgrace. The richest state in the country and the richest nation of the world has a homeless problem. I will fix it. He spends $1 billion. When it's not fixed, he blames the mayors, and he also forced the movie industry and Silicon Valley out of the best state in the country by high taxes. I've never seen someone with such a bad performance, but yet I think he's the front runner to get the nomination for the Democratic Party.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. They got nobody else. Sherrod, welcome back.
And still somehow, Newsom finds the nerve to lecture other states, preaching about leadership, morality, and freedom like he's America's guiding light. That's when Gutfeld turned up the heat even higher. This wasn't just hypocrisy, it was performance art polished to perfection. Newsom wagged his finger at Florida for book bans, while California's kids struggled to read. He slammed Texas for its abortion laws, while his own cities drowned in fentanyl and despair. The irony was so sharp the audience could feel it slice through the air. The crowd laughed, not from comedy, but from the shock of hearing someone finally say it out loud. And by the end, Newsom's stage, his spotlight, his entire image shattered right before everyone's eyes.
So last week, Newsom said he hopes the conservative Supreme Court will overturn the current law that bans his state from removing out-of-control homeless encampments. Imagine that. Well, what did you expect, Gavin? That the sanctuary seekers were going to show up in Winnebagos? Once again, another example of a high-profile lib using his big mouth to write a check his ass can't cash. Last year, after the Texas Governor Abbott ordered that parents of transitioning children should face criminal investigation, Newsom then tweeted this: "Trans kids and their families should be celebrated, not targeted by the state. They are heroes." And so to fearful families in Texas right now, California's door is always open to you.
That sly grin, Gutfeld painted California as a place where the middle class was disappearing faster than water in the desert. Small businesses were dying off while the rich hid behind gated mansions, sipping champagne and pretending not to notice the wreckage around them. And there was Newsom, still smiling, still posing, as if the pain outside his window was just another backdrop for his next camp photo. But Gutfeld wasn't there for easy laughs. He came with truth, exposing how Newsom's policies were driving people out, not because they wanted to leave, but because they had no choice. Families, business owners, lifelong residents, all running from the mess their governor refused to face.
What do you think about Gavin Newsom? What's going on there?
I don't know. I don't know how they bump out Kamala out of put a white male in there and take her out. She's got too much of an ego to just step aside. She's going to go crazy if they try to do that.
Plus, she had a strong 2% support, so don't forget that.
Yeah, but she's waiting for that spot to just open for her, and then you put a white male in there.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to put. I mean, they did it to Bernie. They threw him under the bus two presidential ones in a row. They just gave him a couple extra houses in Vermont. Go, yeah, you got some extra money. But I don't know how they could do it with her.
Yeah, it'd be great if they threw her under the bus because she really likes buses. Remember?
Gutfeld, cool and relentless, kept pressing on. He peeled back every layer of Newsom's illusion until there was nothing left but reality. That so-called economic boom, just smoke and mirrors. His climate leadership, empty slogans dressed up with solar panels. Even his compassion was a staged act that vanished when the cameras stopped rolling. Then Gutfeld dropped a comparison that silenced the room. He said Newsom's California was like a mansion gleaming on the outside, but step inside and it's crumbling, mold-filled, and falling apart. A glossy shell hiding rot. The audience gasped, then laughed. Not because he was exaggerating, but because it was true. California wasn't a dream anymore. It was a warning sign blinking for everyone to see.
Californians used to sell maps of celebrity homes, not landmines. Now, instead of sightseeing, tourists play hopscotch so their shoes don't get hepatitis. And when residents complain, they're called cruel. And now we're supposed to believe Gavin? Hell no. All the problems of the last decade were based on his and his party's lies.
Laughter wasn't for jokes. It was the kind that bursts out when the truth finally hits. Gutfeld wielded his words like a scalpel, slicing through the lies with calm precision. Meanwhile, Newsom, lounging in his luxury hotels and posing at gold-draped podiums, probably thought no late-night host could ever touch him. But he was wrong. Gutfeld didn't just dent the armor, he ripped it wide open. What started as comedy turned into demolition, and from those ruins came something even darker. Whispers that Newsom might run for president. Gutfeld warned what that would, spreading California's chaos to the whole whole country. If California was the experiment, then Newsom was the reckless scientist, and America was next on the table. The thought left the audience stunned, and Gutfeld standing firm, refusing to stay silent.
Then came the national polling by overwhelming majorities. It turns out Americans don't favor minors transitioning. So last week, when a California law was proposed that judges in custody cases favor the parent who supports transitioning a child's new gender, Newsom killed that law quicker than a late-term abortion. Yeah, I know, huh? Now the left, being the left, was outraged, but they missed something, because now Newsom says he only vetoed it since it's already the law.
Gutfeld wrapped it all up with that signature smirk and a slow sip from his mug, locking eyes with the camera as if to say, "I see you, Gavin, and no amount of hair gel can hide this mess." What made his takedown unforgettable wasn't the humor, it was the precision, the quiet, steady confidence as he dismantled the myth Gavin Newsom piece by piece. No yelling, no drama, just wit sharpened to perfection, and truth too clear to ignore. He brought viewers face to face with the reality of San Francisco's downfall, billionaires stepping over human waste, stores closing not from competition, but from collapse. By the end, the message was crystal clear. Gavin Newsom's California isn't a model for America. It's a flashing neon warning. Danger ahead.
Gavin ponders why Dems lost.
We lost. We lost the popular vote, and we lost the electoral vote. We got crushed. And we need to be humble about that, and we need to have some grace, and we need to understand why. Was it because of the incumbency penalty? Was it because of inflation? Was it because of interest rates? Was it because of immigration? Was it because we were too, quote unquote, woke? Was it because of the issues with Israel? Was it all of the above? I think we are going through that forensic. We need to understand at the same time, we also have to push back against the whitewaters and headwinds of the Trump administration.
To voters, he's the slick politician hiding behind a cloud of hair gel. And Gutfeld zeroed in on that hypocrisy with perfect timing. He reminded everyone how Newsom imposed lockdowns, masks, and shutdowns that crushed small businesses and families, only to turn around and dine mask-free at the French Laundry with California's elite. He didn't need to raise his voice. The absurdity spoke for itself. The audience laughed, not at jokes, but at the truth they all recognized. He painted the picture of families packed up, leaving behind the state they once loved, searching for freedom somewhere else. It wasn't bitterness driving them away. It was exhaustion. Gutfeld's brilliance wasn't just in the facts, it was in how effortlessly he stripped away the act and showed the hollow man behind the gloss.
Voters. He's the classic wolf in sheep's hair gel. Just watch him answer the tough questions.
Any other questions here?
Yes, Governor. California has a terrible homeless problem. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. And I think it's a matter of perspective. Let's kind of flip the script on that, okay? Let's kind of put a new lens on that. I mean, you see a homeless man, I see an outdoorsman. We get a lot of natural habitat in this state, and I'm just so proud that so many people in California can take advantage of that. All right, next question.
In the end, Gutfeld exposed a man built entirely for the camera, all posture, no backbone. The governor who scolds the nation while his own house burns, who perfects outrage for the headlines, but crumbles when faced with reality. Behind the shine and sculpted hair, Gutfeld revealed the truth. Gavin Newsom isn't a leader. He's a mannequin dressed for politics, more brand than backbone. He mocked the whispers that this California prince might one day aim for the White House, tearing apart the absurdity of a man overseeing a crumbling state thinking he could sell that same chaos to the entire country. Every smirk, every pause, every line hit with the same message. This isn't leadership, it's marketing. And that glossy brand is falling apart in real time. Gutfeld didn't shout. He didn't need to. Reality did all the talk. By the end, he stood there holding the truth in one hand and the shattered remains of Newsom's image in the other. The final proof that sometimes comedy is the sharpest weapon of all.